So I'm, again, Julie Wise. As David mentioned, I've worked at King County Elections for 18 years. They were hiring 12-year-olds at that time. But this is a slide to tell you that I'm the elected Director of Elections. That's how we roll in King County. We elect the person that runs elections. Not only being there at elections for the last 18 years, I was also the deputy before that. And that's a slide to tell you that I'm a total election geek. I'm certified at the state level and the national level as an election administrator. So that's a little bit about me. Can I just see, who do we have sort of representing our community-based organizations here this afternoon? Wonderful. Hi, Hi, Robert. Hi. How about cities? Yeah, wow, fantastic. Great. Okay, so I believe, just one more slide about me, I promise. I believe that my job as being elected the Director of Elections for King County my priority is to remove barriers to voting, and therefore increasing access. It should really be as easy as possible. Your friends are waving you right over here. You can come right in front. It does not at all. This is an informal gathering. And so I really believe that over especially the last 3.5 years, that's what we've been doing at King County Elections. So some pictures of what we've been working on. Drop boxes, right? We've added 56 drop boxes in King County since I was elected. We had 10 when I started. For 1.3 million. That doesn't work. There's a beautiful one right out front in the turnaround there you can see. We've, of course, also moved to prepaid postage in King County, kind of forced the issue for the rest of the state to follow suit as well. We've added languages that we provide our election materials into, all while at the same time ensuring that we have accurate, secure, fair, open elections at the same time. So let's get really into the meat of it. So the 2020 census, I'm not sure if this is alarming to you all, 361 days. I'm probably all aware of that. And April 1st, 2020 is when that will be kicking off. So to be honest with you, like I said, I was a little bit surprised to be asked to be a keynote speaker specifically about the census, as I am clearly an elections geek, and that is my subject matter expertise. And then I thought, well, shouldn't we all actually be census geeks and really have that be our expertise? So I'm happy to be here, not only speaking with you this afternoon, but also learning with you this afternoon as well. So the 2020 census is less than a year away. Jurisdictions, of course, have a lot at stake in terms of funding, political representation, and quality data for making decisions about our communities. Really, an undercount is going to mean less funding for critical projects. And I'm going to talk about some of those projects that we've seen completed before. So it's absolutely necessary, as you all know why you're here today, that we count everyone, and that we ensure that those who have immigrated to this country feel safe participating and not further isolated by the census process. Funny little typo in this, if you can holler out where the typo is, that would be 17 billion. Just a little mistake there. So $17 billion, nearly $17 billion in funding for Washington State, not million. And so these included programs and grants from programs such as Medicaid, highway planning and construction, Title I grants and local education agencies, special education grants, National School Lunch Program, Head Start, Early Head Start, Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children, State Children's Health Insurance Program, foster care, and low-income housing energy assistance. So again, since the 2010 census, I'm going to use City of Bellevue as an example in this presentation, has received over $76.2 million for transportation capital projects, over $7 million in park capital projects, and nearly $6 million in community development block grants for distribution in Bellevue's human service agencies. So performing an accurate population count in the 2020 census will help ensure Bellevue, for example, continues to receive its fair share of federal, state, and county funds. We had so many examples. Gwen helped me with a ton of different examples, and people from Bellevue are welcome to holler out more, but some examples that we've got up on the screen are absolutely critical to infrastructure projects in Bellevue, specifically the Northeast 4th Street extension, the 120th Avenue Northeast, and utility. Bellevue folks, you want to holler out any other ones? This is a, no? Okay, that's fair. All right, thank you. What's at stake? I could literally probably just say a lot and drop the microphone, right? So there's a lot at stake. One, representation, right? So a complete and accurate count ensures we're going to have fair representation on the United States House of Representatives and in redistricting our state legislatures. In 2010, Washington State gained a seat from 9 to 10 representatives in the House. From 2010 to 2017, Washington State witnessed the 6th largest increase in population, edging its way toward gaining another seat if recent growth trends persist and if there's an accurate count is achieved in 2020. That's huge to me. Yeah, I see shaking heads. We all agree. What also is at stake? Data. Who uses data to drive nearly every decision that we make, right? Data-driven decisions, right? So this is huge. Any decision based on how many people would benefit or be impacted. Think about all the questions. I've just listed a couple up there. And they might seem silly as far as, flags that we should include in an art project or languages that we should translate into a notice. But we know that these are real issues. So we're really going to make sure that we have that data, right? And if we don't have that accurate data, we know that we won't be organizations like myself and government will be making decisions that aren't accurate for our actual community. So we need to make strategic decisions for programs and services that are based on questions such as who are we serving and what are their needs. And those really rely, again, on an accurate census. All of our transportation, utility, parks and rec, emergency management, housing and land use plans are based on population data derived from the census. Census data also helps us evaluate our performance and how well we are doing. Were our programs and services accessible to everyone? Are we recruiting staff who reflect the demographics of our population? Who is most impacted by the lack of affordable housing, and what does that mean in terms of their opportunity for achieving their potential? King County elections, I use census data all the time. When we first started talking this afternoon about those ballot drop boxes, got 10, need to do more than 10, know that, right? But where am I going to put those other 56 locations? I specifically looked at demographics. What we looked at is where's the lowest voter registration rate, where's the lowest voter turnout rate, and what does the census data tell us? It matches the same area where you would see low voter turnout and low voter registrations and demographics with limited English proficient communities, low income, people of color. It matches the exact same geographical areas in King County. And that's why we placed our drop boxes in places that are historically underserved and underrepresented, marginalized communities. So we use it all the time in elections. We also use it for language requirements. Across this country, data specifically from the census is used in determining what languages election departments are going to provide ballots and voting materials in. The Department of Justice looks at census information to make that determination. We don't in King County. We say we're going to go a step above that and we're going to use any data. But every other jurisdiction in this country is using data specifically from the census in order to provide materials in different languages. So I think that that, of course, is really important. So not only drop box placement or election materials and languages, precinct alterations, vote centers. We're going to go to same-day voter registration this year, and we're going to place vote centers. And so the Washington State Voting Rights Act as well. So that's just some of the key areas in which election uses it. So hard to count populations. I'm not going to read to you what's up there. I think that if you haven't had it provided, I can also provide it to you. I'm not sure where I'm at with my 20 minutes. But some of the things that I think are especially challenging are due to, of course, I guess probably the obvious that we're all feeling a lot of concern about the citizenship question, a general distrust of government, the internet being the preferred medium for self-response, a tight job market leading to challenges with recruiting census workers, competing news. Anyone have any idea what's happening next year that I might be a little bit busy with? The presidential election, yes. reduced federal funding for outreach. So on the east side, the challenge will be raising people's awareness, I think, of the importance of the census. This will be a challenge due to our large, hard-to-count populations, including, and I've listed some of them up there, but I think it's really important that, we talk about that about a little more than 34,000 Bellevue residents were not United States citizens in 2017. Young children 0 to 4, who comprised over 5% of Bellevue's population, and people living in low-income households and households without access to the internet, and people living in overcrowded households. I know a little bit about counting. That's pretty much our job at elections, right? It's basically what we do. And since I took office, one of the primary objectives has been eliminating barriers to participation and ensuring everyone has the opportunity to be counted. We've put in place some strategies that have helped us better connect with hard-to-reach communities. Basically, the funnest part of my entire job, one of my favorite programs that we have done in the last 3.5 years, is called the Voter Education Fund. It's where King County government got together with Seattle Foundation, a philanthropic group, to leverage money to provide our community-based organizations with funding, actual dollars to support the work that they do. Show you a picture of our most recent cohort of the Voter Education Fund. This is at our office. We are located in Renton. Just got to put a couple of election plugs out there. If you'd love a tour, I love to give tours. We've got 90,000 square feet of just a bunch of election cool equipment that you could geek out on, and I could show you the process. It's pretty exciting. So in Renton, I'm happy to give you a tour. But this is the Voter Education Fund. So this is the 4th year that we have got together with the Seattle Foundation. We are putting approximately $500,000 back into community-based organizations, a lot of them who have already been doing civic education work for years, if not decades, right? And so what we're doing is we're leveraging the work that the community organizations are already doing to go out and do civic engagement, outreach, encourage people not only to get registered to vote, but to vote, and to help people navigate what voting looks like in Washington State and in King County. So what we do is, in the last cohort, we had 33 community-based organizations out of 72 applicants that we were able to provide grant funding, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, again, to support them in voter education and outreach work that they're doing. And so our belief is to fund and support community-based organizations to engage their respective communities, right? How I reach out to the Latino community is going to be different than how I would reach out to Somalian community. How we reach out to our voters that are experiencing homelessness and their needs are different than that voters have a disability. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to support groups like Real Change, like Washington Bus, like APACE, like ACRS, a whole host of organizations that are working with limited English proficient communities, LGBTQ communities, people experiencing homelessness, people with disabilities, people of color, low-income youth, people that have been incarcerated. And we're leveraging and giving actual money, dollars, to those community-based organizations to provide outreach in their specific communities. And I think that that's a really great model. I guess I'm probably a little bit biased on that since we came up with it, or since we actually, of course, looked at a lot of governments that have done that across the country. I think it's really great news. I think it's really great news that King County and the Seattle Foundation are teaming up to provide a similar program for census education and outreach through the Regional Census Fund. With a $1 million investment, we're really going to be able to help empower trusted messengers and organizations to ensure a complete, accurate count in communities throughout the nation's 13th largest county. To raise awareness of the 2020 census, we need to educate ourselves. I suppose that's why some of us, at least myself, are here today, so that we can provide people we meet with complete and correct information about why the 2020 census is so important, how it will be conducted, where they can get answers to their questions, and how they can help ensure others have all the information they need to make an informed decision about participating in this coming census.